Deshaun Watson, as everybody knows, is vastly, vastly underrated as a quarterback, and I think undervalued as a quarterback, especially if you're the Houston Texans. All of a sudden you love him, but it's too late because he hates you. And Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston. Now, if you listen to the pundits, the Houston Texans are not even taking phone calls on Deshaun Watson.
Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call.
Actual voicemail for Nick Caserio, the GM of the Houston Texans. But my point is, the Chicago Bears, allegedly, according to ESPN and USA Today, have a haul on the table that they are offering the Houston Texans to get Deshaun Watson out of the Lone Star State. And if you start, doing some math and you start calculating, there aren't a whole lot of places left for Deshaun Watson to go, especially on the news that Dak Prescott is likely moving towards a significant extension with the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Now that Jerry made so much extra money in screwing Texans on electricity.
It's fine. People died, but who cares?
He can afford to pay Dak Prescott a huge contract.
Yeah.
We'll stop. The point is, there's not a whole lot of places for Deshaun Watson to go. So, Jake, do you believe that the Chicago Bears will ultimately end up with Deshaun Watson?
I would love to see it, but I can't say that I believe that they'll end up with him. I want to be wrong on this so bad. I want the Bears to sign him so bad, and I just don't have faith in Ryan Pace. I don't have faith in Matt Nagy. I don't have faith in that front office to get things done that need to be done. I think, they made the Khalil Mack thing happen, and that was great, but this is a totally different beast. You're talking about a quarterback. You're talking about, a franchise-defining player, whereas Khalil Mack is a defensive player who comes and goes. I think we see that all the time in the league where you've got these guys on defense who are hot for 3-4 years and then they fall off and then they come back. Whereas Deshaun's going to be hot every single year. And so I would love to see him go and get it, but I can't say that I truly in my heart of hearts believe that they're going to go and get him.
I think there is a real good chance it happens. Because I look at the Bears' future draft capital and they're stocked. Yeah. They're stocked. The Chicago Bears have all the draft capital that you could want.
They have what you need to get the deal done, but I guess here's the thing. As a Bears fan, I just don't have faith in what they do. I don't have faith in what they do. Whether we're talking about the Nick Foles debacle, whether we're talking about any other situation on that team, they just haven't shown me a high level of competency in selecting players.
Well,
honestly,
one, they passed on Deshaun Watson in the draft to take Mitchell Trubisky.
So he shouldn't even be here.
Right? He should already be a Bear, number one. Number two, they've got some real ball-breaking decisions to make if they want to trade for him. Mainly that they've got to cut loose of Hakeem Nicks. And Hakeem Nicks is a hell of a defensive tackle. I think we found out what his value to this Bears team was over the last couple of seasons when he was hurt. But I look at Hakeem Nicks, and if you calculate that they let go of Buster Screen yesterday, the slot corner, the nickelback, which, listen, I like Buster Screen, but he was torched a lot last year. They needed to do it because now after they cut him,
I can stomach the Screens thing. That's not a.
But it puts them $253,000 under the cap at this point, which is exactly what they need to be if they're going to make a move. But to absorb Deshaun Watson's $16 million cap hit, you're going to have to pick between Deshaun Watson and Hakeem Nicks and probably Jimmy Graham.
Well, I'm taking Deshaun Watson.
I'm taking Deshaun Watson, and by the way, they're also going to want 4 first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
How about I give you 5 and we call it even?
Yeah.
If I'm the Chicago Bears, I'm happy to give up 4 first-round picks because, one, we all know this is a quarterback league.
Yes.
And, yes, again, I'm a diehard Chicago Bear fan, born and raised.
Yes.
I go back my entire life, all 50 years of it, 48, thank you.
Not quite there yet.
I go beyond that back to Papa Bear Hallis. I go beyond that back to the founding of the Chicago Bears. You've had very few, maybe 1 or 2, franchise-level quarterbacks, and not a single one in my entire lifetime, with all due respect to Jim McMahon, the greatest Bears quarterback who's never been a great quarterback, with all due respect to Jimmy Mack.
Yeah.
He's no Jim Harbaugh. He's no Bob Avellini.
And by the way, this whole time the Bears haven't had quarterbacks. The rest of the teams in the division have.
Bob Avellini.
Yeah, okay, whoever that is. Anyway.
Okay, that's my point. He's no Mike Tomczak.
Mm-hmm.
He's no Eric Kramer. He's no Rex Grossman. I could go on and name quarterbacks.
Jay Cutler.
He's no Smokin' Jay. The Bears haven't had a franchise quarterback in my entire lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an opportunity to remedy that. And I think if you do that, you would have to add rotational defensive tackle pieces. But this is a defense with Kyle Fuller that is more than capable. But here's the other part of this conversation that is vitally important. You don't trade for Deshaun Watson and give up likely 4 first-round picks plus, right? Mm-hmm. And then let Allen Robinson walk away.
Right.
You don't trade finally for a franchise quarterback and then not bring back his number one weapon.
Right.
That just doesn't make any sense. So The truth of the matter is, if you're going to go out and trade for Deshaun Watson, you better have had substantial conversations with Allen Robinson, because I got news for you. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm not leaving the Texans to go to the Texans light, right? Like, I'm not doing that. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm going to the Bears as long as Allen Robinson is my number one. And if that's the case, I think you have to pay Allen Robinson more than a cap or more than a franchise tag.
Yeah.
I think you have to give him a longer-term deal. And I think at that point, what did you do? Your running game got better with Montgomery. Your wide receivers certainly got better. Cole Kmet is a guy that could easily step in for Jimmy Graham. You've now turned yourself into, in a division full of not such great football teams.
Average-ass teams.
Well, and that's the truth.
Average-ass teams.
If we're looking at the Vikings...
Average-ass team.
If we're looking at the Lions...
Worst organization in the league by some people's measures.
Well, and you're probably not that far off on that. And you look at the Packers.
A team that is good some years and very mediocre other years.
And I think that you have an opportunity. Number one, you have an opportunity to make or break with Ryan Pace, the general manager, and Matt Nagy, the head coach. If you trade for Deshaun Watson, there is no question that you now have that franchise-level quarterback that you claim was your issue last year.
I just don't know why, if you're Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, why you wouldn't shoot your shot here. Why would you not just, like if you know that you're on the hot seat, which they very much are on the hot seat, I don't think anybody disputes that. Like, if you know that, go in, like, if you're going to fail big.
Yeah.
Go and get the guy. Go and do it, you know? Because then you can say, hey, like, you know, we went and got Deshaun, we kept Allen, you know, we've got Kyle Fuller in the defense, like, we're doing some things here. I'm not saying we're winning a Super Bowl this year, but we're moving in the right direction now, very clearly. So, you know, why would you not go and at least try? I'd rather see this team go and get Deshaun and have, you know, lesser issues. Like, hey, okay, we've got Deshaun, you know, we've got Allen Robinson, but we need that one more guy at wide receiver. We need one more difference maker. You know, I'd rather have that conversation than, hey, we're 5-10 and we're awful. And
well, the conversation you don't want to have is, well, we gave Mitch that last shot. We'll get him in 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, how many years are we going to say we'll get him next year? You know, how many years are we going to...
At some point, this makes ownership look bad.
I think ownership absolutely looks bad already.
Like, yeah.
There's no doubt about that in my mind. Listen, I think when you're talking about the quarterbacks, the caliber of Deshaun Watson, and let's not forget Russell Wilson, because I think this is an important part of this Bears conversation. When you're talking about guys that want to be Chicago Bears, Russell Wilson said he wants to be a Chicago Bear.
Yeah.
The Bears are on a list of acceptable trade teams. If you're the Chicago Bears, there's no excuse not to go out and get that done when you have struggled so mightily. And whether that is Mitch Trubisky, Jay Cutler, I mean, point to the quarterback that you've struggled with recently in the last decade.
Dude, there's too many.
If you'd have had a franchise quarterback instead of Rex Grossman, you're probably beating the Colts in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Yes.
Right? How many years are we going to go where just a competent quarterback is going to keep you out of the playoffs?
Yeah. So it's very frustrating.
So when you have a guy like Deshaun Watson who arguably is available to you, because the Texans, according to ESPN, are not even answering the phone to talk to Deshaun Watson trades.
Yeah.
They will. They have to. They have no choice.
Dude, how thirsty is the league when you're leaving voicemails with the deals, allegedly? Like, you've got teams calling you.
And just to clarify, what Jake is talking about, half the league, fully half the league, has allegedly called the Houston Texans. Nick Caserio, the general manager of the Texans, half the league has called Caserio asking about trades for Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And the Bears, by far, have the most to offer and are being the most aggressive. And really, if you look at the other suitors, the Miami Dolphins are always going to be looking for a quarterback. They're not unlike the Chicago Bears.
What, Tua didn't get it done for you?
Well, you're still trying to replace Dan Marino in Miami.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. And it's ball breaking, frankly, to see Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, doing well.
Yeah.
Becoming a Super Bowl contender because you traded for or signed Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're Miami, your perpetual search for a quarterback is ongoing. But I also look at teams like the 49ers. 49ers have not moved on from Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So they haven't even made it known that they're going to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, which, by the way, I've said until I'm blue in the face, I don't know that you need to move on from Jimmy G to win a Super Bowl.
Probably not.
Right?
But I think that it's just with quarterbacks, there's always that conversation of, hey, if we can get better at that position, we always want to get better.
Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. I just
let me ask you this: in your opinion, is Deshaun worth all of this? Like, because to me he's worth it, but like some people say that some people just question that. Nobody's saying that he's not a good quarterback, but I think the question of is Deshaun Watson worth that caliber of deal? 4 first-round picks or like just a massive haul, whatever that looks like.
Well, who are the real contenders here for Deshaun Watson? Okay, if I look at the New York Jets, right, they're always looking for a quarterback.
Always.
And, Sam Darnold has not been what they had hoped he would be. But there's real upside in hanging on to him. If you contrast Sam Darnold to Mitch Trubisky, there's far more upside in Darnold than there is in Trubisky, right?
And in Darnold, I think there's a common belief in the league that he could be a guy you trade for and you could turn him into something for you. He's still moldable enough.
Sure, and if you trade Darnold, you don't have to go and get a Deshaun Watson because you have Zach Wilson sitting there, right? There are quarterbacks available to you. Same thing with the Dolphins, although the Dolphins have a significant investment in Tua Tagovailoa, and I don't think that you can just write off Tua at this point, even though I told you not to draft the guy and he was going to be a bust.
Yep.
I mean, I only told you that because I'm freaking brilliant and I know everything and I'm hung.
Yep.
But the point is, I think the only real other contender that you're looking at is going to be a team like the Carolina Panthers, because I think the Panthers need a quarterback. But if you're Houston and the Panthers ring your phone about Deshaun Watson,
no chance.
I'm asking for a player. I'm asking for a player in return.
I would need it. Yeah, that would just have to be. That's the deal where it's got to be on a level that you just can't turn it down.
But I would need who's the Panthers' best player right now?
McCaffrey,
CMC, right?
Yeah.
You're not trading him, right? But what about a guy like a Chin? What about a guy like a Brian Burns?
There's a deal that can be put together, right? Like you can find a player on the Panthers roster that you would really want as part of a deal. But at the end of the day, I think I think the true contenders in this thing, obviously the Bears. I think low key the 49ers want to be involved, but I don't think they're really trying all that hard. So I don't know.
But that's my point. If you look at the Panthers are going to have their pick of a young quarterback. Mac Jones will be available when the Panthers draft. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, you don't need to force a deal unless you're the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Because you've been so close, and you have a guy like Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy that are clearly fighting for their jobs right now, it makes all the sense in the world to give up multi-years of first-round picks because, again, if you don't trade those picks for a quarterback, you're going to draft a quarterback again and probably screw that up too. Take the safe route. That's all I'm saying. And again, I don't mean to be redundant. Look at the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers are Joe Montana and Steve Young. Are they drafting young quarterbacks? No. What did they do? They went and got Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Has it worked out? Not as well as you would have hoped, but it hasn't been a complete bust. You don't, in my opinion, when you're one of the crown jewels of the NFL, you don't draft quarterbacks. The Chicago Bears should never be in a position to be drafting quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Go and get a guy. Do what the Rams did.
Yeah.
The Rams had a quarterback issue. They cut bait, and they went and got Matthew Stafford.
Very aggressive move.
And they are, in my opinion, one of the leading favorites to win the NFC Championship now. Anyway. All right, make sure you smash that subscribe button on YouTube. It's really frustrating. I'm that guy who's been in jail for like 20 years and I haven't gotten laid. Right? Like, I'm that guy who, I love the Chicago Bears, man, but please do this. I need a release, man.
I want it.
Anyway, hit subscribe on YouTube, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show.
Man, oh man.
Anyway, let's talk about Major League Baseball, because now you need a release. I actually really like this rule. We saw it for the first time. It is the mercy rule in spring training only. We're in game 1, 2, or 3 for most clubs. Major League Baseball has instituted a mercy rule, where if your pitcher has thrown more than 20 pitches in an inning in spring training, you can, as the defensive team, choose to end the inning. We saw that in spring training. We had a pitcher who threw 23 pitches, had gotten only one out. His day was over. Let's end the inning and move on. I think it makes perfect sense. You're over there, drooling on yourself to chomp on the microphone because you're so upset about it. Explain to me what the bad side of this rule is.
When did quitting in sports start to become a thing? When did it become acceptable to say, hey, I had a bad outing, so yeah, we can end the inning, it's fine. No, how about you make a pitching change? You can't say on one hand, hey, well, we put this rule in place because spring training is all about development. Spring training is all about, making sure that guys, don't wear themselves out. Okay, great. I get that. I even agree with it. But, that's right. You have 1 million guys on your roster in spring training. Go ahead and make a pitching change. I don't understand why this would ever be a thing. By the way, what we're not talking about is just by ending the inning, you're taking at bats away from other guys. What about all the guys who want to hit? What about all the guys who were coming up and getting excited because they were having a big inning and maybe they were going to get an extra at bat?
Bro, it is game 1. And by the way, the pitcher was Garrett Richards for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
First game he's ever thrown for the Red Sox. Injury-prone guy. Mm-hmm.
Why do we need to end the inning? I just don't understand. Why do we need to end the inning?
Make a pitching change.
Make a pitching change.
It's spring. What does the game mean?
It's not about the game. You're sitting here saying that you like this rule because we want to protect players and we want to get development, but you're also sitting here, disagreeing with me about getting guys reps. Like, the whole point of spring training is to make a gazillion pitching changes, get everybody an inning, and the guys who can't complete their inning are guys that you got to work on. Those are guys that need reps.
Why are you so upset about this?
Because it's you. So in life, when I had a bad day at Yelp, do I just get to end that day 4 hours into the day? No. Like in sports, when you're losing, when the Wizards are losing by 50, do they just get to end the quarter?
No, but they should.
But like I just don't understand. Like this is one of the, like, to me, this is one of the dumbest things that baseball's ever done. Like, I can get down with, hey, you want to shorten games a little bit. you know, you want to put a guy on second base to end the game or, you know, whatever. I can get down with those little minutia things. But when you start telling me, hey, you're going to give the manager the ability to end the inning and take at-bats away from guys who really need, because that's what no one's talking about with this. Hitters are the ones that need the reps in spring training. Hitters are the ones that are way behind pitchers.
Oh, come on, really? I think with the explosion of Tommy John surgery, I think the way that we've handled arms in baseball, especially in the lower levels, I think there is something to be said for that. And I do agree that reps at the plate matter, at bats matter. I would agree with that, but it's spring training.
But
you know,
why
this
do we
is
need to
where
end
you
the whole
test
inning instead of make a change. That's what I can't get down
it's
with.
the half inning, first of all.
Right, you're ending your defensive inning. You're getting off the field. And the other portion of this that I'm not a huge fan of is then you can bring the guy back.
Yeah.
Bring him back out.
Which they did, and he did fine. Because that's the whole spirit of spring training. It is summer ball. It is summer runs in the NBA. It is meaningless. All you are trying to do is get a guy right and ready. That's all. If this was the regular season, absolutely not. If they put up 50 on you in the bottom of the first, that's your fucking problem, man, not mine.
So then
you're paid to get guys out in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, we just disagree on this. I don't think that sending the message of, hey, yeah, you can just end the defensive inning because your guy's getting lit up, that's just not how it should be.
Real Fat Jesus says, Jake is right. At-bats matter. If you want a mercy rule, end the inning if a team bats through the order. Oh, well, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I think that's good.
I guess my biggest issue here is just the message you're sending with this. You on one hand want to say, well, we're going to give you the option to end the inning because we want to protect players' arms. But you're doing that in a sport when you can essentially make a pitching change whenever you want to make the change. So I just don't understand why we need to be ending defensive innings when you've literally got like 20 pitchers on your roster in spring training. I mean, you've got a gazillion guys, dude.
More than that, yeah.
You tell me you can't get Jimmy from A-ball to come in and finish the inning?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But I like the idea that you can bring the guy back. That's my favorite part of the rule.
Yeah.
Because I think it allows you to build. And that's all.
Yeah.
You know, having covered multiple spring trainings, the mentality and the mindset down there is completely different. I mean, they just don't care about the result of the game. They are there to get guys back and ready for the regular season, and that's all the heart of this rule is. And you know, frankly, I just don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm one of the only ones that doesn't have a problem with it, and I'm good with that. Giggity says maybe roll a pitching machine to the mound after the 20 pitch.
Yeah, dude. Like what? Like, come on, dog. Like this is what are we even talking about here, man? Come on.
Oh, that is fabulous, Giggity. Love that, my man. Love that. On the other hand, though, I'm so glad baseball's back.
Yeah, it's nice. I had the Mets game on like all day yesterday.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm actually making money at Yelp, so I don't have time to watch TV.
Right.
I usually have CNN or CNBC on.
Right.
But you know,
I prefer not to have the negative vibes of the news on all day.
Well, there is some negative vibe in the news.